I'm on side by side with you, so I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Wait, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
You got dysentery.
We're all set. The first invite I sent, I don't know what, if it was because I'm tired or whatever, but I put Jonathan Kent 5051, like the Van
Uh,
Halen album.
oh, whoop, nope, nope. You got to put my birthday in there, home slice.
Yep, yep. I was
Okay,
like, it's
cool.
5051. It's fine. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it.
Mm.
I'm pretty dumb.
Yeah, it's all good, but man, listen, I'm just glad we're finally fucking doing this.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we had a little mishap a couple weeks ago. And then I had to rely on the mail service and all sorts of things and schedule.
Schedule conflicts.
I don't know if you can see this shit, but nope, won't be able to see it. Maybe if I, nope, can't get it. That's just my crotch. All right, so
Okay. I'm wearing Biz Marquee.
nice.
Yeah, we went to a Time Warp prom,
Hmm.
and I went as like a b-boy, like a rapper,
Hmm.
and I had like a Adidas tracksuit on, and I had this on, and I had like chains and rings and a Kango hat.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to send you pictures from it. It was pretty fun, man.
Was that just like a friend's party or something?
No, they had a thing at the Cannes Film Fair. They had like an indoor um like hall or whatever,
Hmm.
and like I don't know, like so like 300 people went,
That's
like
really
three
cool.
400 people went. Yeah, it was pretty cool. They used to always have it at what the hell is it called? Not Ernie McDougal's. One of those like big like indoor event things,
Hmm.
and they had to stop because of the pandemic. And usually it was just like Time Warp, but this year it was more like 80s. So they brought it back, and it was the first year. I can't remember who used to do it against them, but this year, I mean, it was cool. Lindsay and Ari went as my fly girls. So they did like the heavy brown and like tan, like eye makeup, and like we're all like, you know, chinoed out, like fly girls looked.
Yeah, yeah. Did
Yeah,
they
but it was pretty.
tweeze? Did they tweeze their eyebrows and then draw them back on like super thin?
No, they didn't go that. They didn't go that crazy with it. No, but that
I
was a
guess that was
couple.
more 90s. That's more 90s.
Yeah, well, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, because that would have been like around the time that like that style was real big. Like
I feel like the 80s, all the women had like Brooke Shields, like like natural eyebrows. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I
like
feel like the
Cindy
90s was more,
Crawford.
yeah. Like I feel
Yeah,
like the
like the
90s when we were in high school, that's when all the girls started like tweezing their eyebrows. So it was like just when they weren't wearing makeup, you could see it just looked like I don't know,
like
like
somebody drew it on.
well, yeah, after they drew it on, but before that, it was just kind of like scraggly, just barely any fucking, you know, just a thin line of just like stray hairs. And then they go, oh, fill it in with the pencil. I don't know. Fashion's weird.
Yeah, when I was 14, I dated this Puerto Rican girl in my neighborhood, and she was like a year older than me, and she would do that with hers, and then she
Yeah.
would do like the baggy jeans and the beater with the flannel tied around her waist, and
Yeah.
like which it's not really a revealing look, but like it always kind of did something for me, and like and it
Yeah.
still does. Like if I see that, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to be schoolgirl. It can be that also. Like that works. 100% works. Oh, wait a second. You got dysentery.
Fuck.
We
Yeah.
are You Got Dysentery. We're your hosts,
Sam.
and I'm John, and we're Zennial Files.
Yes, we are.
We didn't introduce ourselves. We went on a tirade already this
Well,
week.
that's fine. I can always cut and paste and shit. And
No, keep it all.
yeah.
Keep it all.
Well, one thing we haven't talked about since starting this from the old Zenio Files podcast is the poop du jour.
Poop du jour. I haven't had it yet, man.
You haven't had your poop du jour today?
No, no.
So the poop du jour is, if you're not French, which I mean I'm not either, but I know
I'm
a little
part
bit of
French.
French. Are you? Yeah.
That
So the
like,
poop,
like a little tiny bit.
just
Just a smidge. I don't claim it, but I am.
yeah. I think my grandmother found out that she is part French too, but she was kind of weird about it because she thought she was full-blooded English her whole
Oh
life.
God, those people.
But so the poop du
That sounded
jour
racist,
is
but it wasn't.
yeah,
Fucking those people.
you can be racist against white people, it's fine. So the poop du jour is the poop of the day, and every morning John and I each have a poop, and then we discuss it. Not at length. We just, how was it? How was your poop du
Sometimes
jour?
girth lands.
Sometimes it's just like, how was your morning? Oh, I got up and I did the poop du jour. And, we're not going to discuss the actual poop itself, but I don't know. We might.
No, I didn't. Well, I don't have a poop to describe.
No, it's sad.
No, I got up. I tended to my sick wife who has a sinus infection, who's currently laying in our bed. She traveled with her sister to Colorado and got sick after she came back. And because she works with kids, she's sick 2 weeks later. So,
Yep.
Sick wife.
Yep. Sick wife, sick life.
Yeah. Not sick as in like, yo, bro, that was a sick grind.
That was a sick burn, bro. Sick burn.
Sick burn. She got folded.
She got straight folded.
Like a lawn chair.
Yeah.
Kids don't know. Kids. Taking our words.
Like when you get hit or you fall down and like your whole body just goes like.
They call that getting. There's a term. I think it was that stupid ass show on MTV, that ridiculousness.
Yeah, yeah.
And they did this thing where like get scorpioned, which basically your legs go like over your head.
Yeah.
Like when somebody gets crushed, like it's like the head, like your legs going over your head, and it looks like a scorpion.
Huh.
So they call that getting scorpioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's some dumb straight up millennial shit. We're not straight up millennials.
Yeah, we're the gray area.
We're zennials. We're the Cuspers.
Yeah.
Cusper's revenge.
Like Alicia Cusper. Yeah. Wait, that's not right. That's not right.
Dude, if we ever have to change the name because you got dysentery for whatever reason, we should call it Cusper's Revenge.
Write that down.
Don't have to. It's on here. We got it. We got it for posterity.
Jot it down for posterity's sake.
Yeah. Jot it down for posterior.
Listen. Careful around my posterior.
Sorry.
Yeah. Poop du jour.
Anyway, so before we had our little delay in recording this episode, we were talking about I was up late with my wife one night and we were watching The Dark Side of the 90s, I believe on Hulu. And I got super excited and I'm like, John, tomorrow we have to record blah 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 blah. We got to talk about this episode. And then I
I
couldn't
watched
find.
it
Yeah, you watched it. You had some thoughts
with my wife,
with
who
your
was
wife.
high and also had thoughts.
Yes. So do you want to talk about that a little bit today? It was the episode
Oh
about grunge.
boy, do I. Buckle up, fuckers. It's going to be a wild one.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who knows me, Sam included, knows I'm a very opinionated person. But as a Zennial, I think before I run my mouth. Like I know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no expert on this subject, but I've watched pretty much all the documentaries on the grunge scene. Whether it's Hype, whether it's 1991, the year punk broke, Montage of Heck, onward and onward, pretty much whatever low budget, documentaries on YouTube, I've somehow come across it. I tried to give the documentary a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I went in open-minded. And when I saw the Vice logo go over the bottom, I went, okay, I got to consider the source, okay? Because I did watch a two-tone documentary narrated by Tim Armstrong, who might not be the strongest speaker. Yeah. Man, they were jamming in Jamaica, Queens, man. They did that two-tone style, baby.
And they went to potato man.
He needs to shave the beard because since he's had that beard, like it just I don't know. Man.
It's even more garbled.
Yeah.
Like the words can't the half-formed words can't even get past the beard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's all like vegan chips stuck to it and shit.
I'm just a punk. I'm not a cop.
I'm a garbage man. I'm the garbage man. For anybody who doesn't know that reference,
the X-Files episode.
Yeah. The not the reboot, but what do we call it? The continuation.
Yeah, but they called it a reboot. It was like, I don't know.
The reboot came later. That was kind of like the bridge. Like it was.
There was like some yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, there were two new people and it fucking sucked.
No, it was when it was like 2000, I want to say 2015 or something, and they brought back David Duchovny and Jillian Anderson.
Yeah, that was the bridge. That was the bridge.
And there were two other people too.
Well, yeah, they introduced two other people. Remember at the end, towards the end, they brought those two younger people in.
I barely watched it, man. I watched it one time.
There was two younger people, and it was supposed to be them, but like a couple years later, it came back, and it was two other people who were supposed to be the two people who were.
Yeah,
and it wasn't good. It lasted one season. It wasn't very good.
I thought you were talking about the two new people at the end of the first run when they brought in like Robert Patrick and what's her face that was in SLC Punk.
Oh yeah, no.
And they kind of gradually replaced Mulder and Scully.
Well, they had to with Mulder.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall any of that storyline, they pretty much had to.
Yeah.
But I do remember when they brought Robert Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
They brought
T-1000 and whatever I can't remember her name. That was
the chick from SLC Punk.
Yeah, and probably other things, but that's what I know her from.
Yeah, but hooty-hoo. So I watched this. First off, I didn't realize the whole series is narrated by Mark McGrath. It kind of makes me feel a little bit better. Because I was like, I mean, this California boy is like frosted tips. Like, I don't know if he should. Like, I would have been fine if it was like Dave Grohl, because I know Dave Grohl likes to pour himself out for documentaries.
Right.
So I was just kind of like, I just kind of figured it was going to be him, but it was Mark McGrath, and at first, they talk about, they talk about the grunge, which the first thing that bothered me is this is the first documentary where I heard people within the Seattle scene call it grunge.
Mm-hmm.
People in the scene didn't call it grunge.
No.
Grunge was a term that was manufactured by like print media, which started with what was it, the newspaper in England that ran the first story, the Melody Maker.
The NME. Was it Melody Maker or the NME? Or
it might be. I think it was NME. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time that it was coined as grunge, and that was describing the down-tuned, sludgy nature of the music. Basically punk meets like Black Sabbath, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Like punk, the Beatles, and Black Sabbath.
Yeah, because you know what? Because there were punk bands in Seattle, whether it was the Farts or the Fastbacks.
I was going to say Fastbacks, yeah.
Or what the Wipers.
Were the Wipers from the Pacific
they
Northwest?
Were either from there or they were from somewhere in that general city.
Definitely like PNW band.
Yeah, I think I'm in like the Raincoats or something like that. Or maybe I'm wrong on that one, but there was like another one that was kind of like late 70s, early 80s, kind of a pre-existing, band to Seattle. Because I guess the genesis of the Seattle scene wouldn't have been until like 84, 85 with like early Soundgarden and like Mother Love Bone and like
Screaming Trees and what was the band that Mark Arm was in before Mudhoney?
Green River.
Yeah, Green River.
Green River was basically Mark Arm, a member of Pearl Jam, and Mother Love Bone. I think Green River split and became Mudhoney and Mother Love Bone, and then
Mother Love Bone turned into Pearl Jam. Yep. And they called themselves Mookie Blaylock.
Mookie Blaylock. Very good, dude.
Thank you.
Nice
Before they were Pearl Jam. Thank you.
Yeah, he was a baseball player.
Yeah. I forgot that part.
He was a baseball player for the St. Louis Cardinals, and because Eddie Vedder is a St. Louis Cardinals fan.
All right.
So, yeah, little deep dive with the Vedder.
Little tidbit.
But I mean, what were your thoughts on the beginning of the documentary? Like, I mean, I'm kind of ripping here.
I can't remember. I know they focused a lot on Nirvana. I can't remember the beginning of the documentary part, of the episode, but there was one part that I was like, okay, I got thoughts, and I got a little like irritated and stuff, and that's when I was like, I need to call Jon. At one point after Kurt died, and they're talking about how grunge was like it took over and blah 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 blah. They're like, certain people were talking about how like, well, then that bummed everybody out, and then guitars sort of fell out of fashion for a while, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna talk about like electronica, and like the Chemical Brothers and Fatboy Slim and stuff like that, even though they all use like guitar samples and stuff sometimes, but like I was thinking, because when we were in high school, even though I still listened to punk and rock music and stuff, I got really into like the electronic stuff. So I thought they were going to go there. and they didn't. They were like, all of a sudden you hear like Backstreet Boys beats start playing, and I'm like, the fuck. The people who were listening to grunge didn't get tired of grunge because it was depressing and then move on to boy bands and Britney Spears and shit. Like those were already two different fan bases. Like, when we were in high school, there were factions that were all based around music and clothes and shit. That was your identity back then. You like, I listen to this because this is stupid, or like, you know, the top 40 kids would be like, oh, look at all those freaks. And, they were into like the teeny bopper shit. So I was very confused that they were like, but, my wife's sitting next to me and she's like, well, yeah, but they're talking about the charts. They're talking about like what was popular in general in the country and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's a good point. Then they should have said it differently. You know, I
Can I
don't think.
piggyback on this? Can I piggyback
Yeah,
real quick?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that made me mad too because like I thought about it. I was like, okay, so 94, so you're just gonna gloss over the revival of punk then.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yep.
just gonna completely wash over 1994 to 1997 when basically it erupted.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna gloss over you're just gonna ignore bands like, I don't know, the Smashing Pumpkins or Veruca Salt or
Mm-hmm.
Garbage. Or you're just going to ignore that, or you're going to ignore new metal, which honestly kind of took grunge and kind of even made it darker
Mm-hmm.
and put kind of a hip hop fusion to it. And so
Yeah.
you're going to ignore Korn, you're going to ignore Limp Bizkit, you're going to ignore Deftones.
Yeah.
It just was like
Because
as
those bands
anybody
were all
who
still huge, like after, and those are a direct result of like grunge because it was sort of, what we now think of as like the Hot Topic kids and like the beginning of like, scene kid culture and stuff like that. Where it was like, people shopping at Hot Topic and they were wearing big baggy jeans and they were listening to down-tuned guitar music and shit. You know what I mean?
and
Like,
no offense to Sub Pop, how are
mhm,
you going to gloss over Epitaph Records
mhm.
and them selling the biggest independent label, biggest independent release of all time at 9 million copies of Smash? How are
Yeah,
you just going to gloss over that? I understand it's not an LA punk scene documentary, but
right.
you can't. It's punk, the second wave of punk, or whatever wave that's
Yeah,
considered.
I don't
I
know how
consider
they
it second wave. Um, our wave, okay, our
the
wave of punk
revival,
rock, the
the
revival.
revival of
Yeah,
pop of like mainstream punk.
yeah, because technically hardcore could be seen as the second revival of punk, but whatever.
Mhm.
Um, our revival of punk was grunge allowed that to happen. So not to acknowledge it kind of also defaces the importance of what grunge was as a whole.
Mhm.
Not they constantly they they focused too much on the media hype and didn't focus on the cultural um, influence it would have
Mhm.
after Kurt died. Because
Yeah,
the story doesn't end where Kurt dies. It ends when it no longer is in the mainstream.
right. But like you said, this was a series produced by Vice, which you can say a lot of different stuff. We could do a whole episode on Vice. Like I don't even know
Yeah,
that much, but what I do know, I'm just like, eh. But
very biased.
yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Like what they probably could have done, like if I was the producer for that show, is if you're gonna focus on grunge, do what you did, spread it out further across the 1 hour episode or whatever it was. Don't focus so much on one band that was like put that at the end. Like Nirvana should have been like the last like 20 minutes of the episode or something. Or even the
Or not
last
even the
half.
last 15.
You could even do it like the last half. Like the first half is like the history of grunge. Halfway mark start talking about Nirvana, the the rise to fame, the, you know, Kurt Cobain death, and then, you know, talk about what it, like, its legacy. I think there was more legacy than there was like, oh, the whole country got tired of that shit and then, you know,
It was
moved
Bruce
on to
Pavitt
to
bitching.
bubblegum music. What?
It was Bruce Pavitt bitching about how sad he was that he had to walk away from the label, but yet they turned around and fucking got distributed by Warner Brothers. Dude, you're no longer a fucking indie label, dude. You get distributed by the fucking big boys. You're not an indie label, dude. You cannot consider yourself an indie label no more. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but Fueled by Ramen can't claim indie status. They're distributed by a major label. Merge Records can't sit there and say they're independent label because you're not. If you're getting distributed by a fucking major label, you cannot sit there and call yours and claim indie clout. You can't fucking do it, dude. You're part of the machine.
I would argue that, because I don't know, like, yeah, you can be a part of the machine. It's just a way to play ball in order to get your because money makes the world go round. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's talk for a minute about like creative control and you know, majority ownership, you know. Like if you still have 51% or more of the you know, the ownership of your company, you still have all of that say and like creative, you know, decisions and, you know, what you're willing to do with it and what you're not willing to do with it. So I can still see you being an independent label because it's more in the way you're running it. You know what I mean?
But here's
And
the problem. Sam. They glossed over the fact of how many good bands they did sell. Here's the problem. This is my problem with Sub Pop. Is Sub Pop thought they were fucking hot shit. They thought they were fucking hot shit. They got wrapped up in the whole Nirvana fucking hype. And guess what? They fucking lived off the fucking residuals because they put that contract in with fucking Nevermind because because what they are fucking, I'm sorry, they're shit. They should have never had any fucking ties to that fucking record, and they fucking know it because that wasn't their fucking record to profit off of.
right.
Leech was, Nevermind wasn't. What they did is they were all fucking hoity fucking toity, fucking lived beyond their fucking means, fucking lived off the fucking residuals, and then boo-hooed about how nobody bought any of their fucking records. What do you mean nobody bought your fucking records? You signed every fucking grunge sounding band there fucking was.
Yeah.
You tell me you didn't make any fucking money off of it? You mean to sit there and tell me you signed Sunny Day Real Estate and you didn't make any fucking money off of them? When they were one of the biggest fucking emo bands of the late 90s? You're going to tell me you didn't make money off the fucking Postal Service? Shut the fuck. You didn't make any money off Modest Mouse? Get the fuck out of here,
Right.
dude.
Well,
Get out of here.
that was the other thing, that documentary made it seem like, you mentioned the Postal Service, that was like, you know, the way that episode made it feel was that they were going down the drain and then they signed the Postal Service and then the Postal Service turned around. I get it, like that one single they put out is
It
still
sold a
played on
million
the friggin'
records.
radio, right? I
It
get it,
sold
but
a million records. Who cared about the Postal Service? It sold 1 million records, dude.
they still play it. Like they don't play a lot of, like, I rarely hear stuff like Veruca Salt played on, like, 'cause sometimes I'll tune into, like, you know, terrestrial radio just to see if I'm missing anything new that's cool and, you know, all that. But they still play that Postal Service single alongside stuff like Beck and fucking Creed and shit. You know what I mean? Like they don't.
I hear Caesar Volcano Girls all the time.
Well, maybe that's a bad example, but like something that like, I never hear Super Drag. I never hear Smoking Popes. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
I got you.
stuff that like got like quite a bit of rotation
I
for
don't
like
hear Screaming Trees on
for
the
a couple
radio.
years. I never. Oh, that's the other thing. They made it seem like Screaming Trees was like part of some big four of grunge.
They were.
I
They
never
were,
heard
dude.
them on the radio. I only heard them.
Nearly lost you.
Huh?
The song Nearly Lost You was fucking huge. That album
I'd have
probably
to
sold
look
a
it up.
million copies.
I'd have to look up the song because I only knew of them from
Mhm.
conversations about grunge. And I know one of our good friends, Ray, had pretty much every Screaming Trees record.
I forget the name of the album, but that was the one that fucking that one broke. I think it was like 93 or 94. It was towards the end, but they did break. They did break. And I they might have been on a major by then.
Was this like before Nirvana became
No,
huge?
as Nirvana was going on.
Okay, so like to me, the big four of grunge, quote unquote, would have been Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains.
I have a problem with Alice in Chains being included on that because Alice in Chains wasn't part of the grunge scene.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains was already established by the time grunge was.
Yeah, they were like a glam rock. They were like a glam rock band, but
Yeah, they already had Facelift was already out by then. They were
yeah.
already on to like album number 2. Like they were like I want to consider them glam, but like I wouldn't consider them like hair metal either. Like I don't know what the fuck they were.
Yeah.
Um, but they weren't grunge.
Like I would definitely now in hindsight call them grunge though. Like they're a big part of that sound like the a lot of the post grunge bands sound like some kind of cross between Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and Pearl Jam.
But I'm saying though, and if you really deep dive in it, Alice in Chains was already beyond Seattle. They were
Okay.
already in LA. They were already fucking on a major label machine. Like they had nothing to do with really they had as much of a part of the grunge scene as like the Fastbacks did. Like
Okay. Yeah.
they were separate entities. They were Alice in Chains were a metal band.
Okay. I get that.
You know,
I mean, yeah, but you can consider any of those bands something else. Like there is no, I feel like those four that I mentioned together formed what we think of as the grunge
because
sound.
of
You
the
know,
four bands that everybody talked about.
right.
It's
I
not
get
like
that.
what if hindsight would have been different instead the big four were Nirvana, Soundgarden, Mudhoney, and Tad. What if
Right. I was
Mudhoney
going to
and
say
Tad?
Mudhoney, Tad, the Melvins to me are just as much. But again, Mudhoney is basically punk with like, Sabbath influence and like garage rock influence and stuff.
And one of my
Um,
favorite bands I have had seen, to be completely
yeah.
honest.
Melvins were sludge metal, you know. Um, Soundgarden, I get flack for this, but Soundgarden was basically like stoner rock, you
Yeah,
know. Um,
but really good stoner rock.
yeah, yeah.
Like
But like
Ari,
you
like
look at
Ari
anything
loved
before,
Scissors.
yeah, you look at anything though before Unknown, and they were playing stoner rock before that had that name.
Oh yeah, Bad Motorfinger and anything before that, pretty much.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like stoner. They were like the Northwest Caius. Like they were
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
From out of the desert and into the pine
yeah.
trees comes Soundgarden.
But
That's
yeah,
so fucking dumb.
it's pretty dumb. I like it though.
Hey, I'm gonna go mobile.
All right. It's time
Walking with John.
for Walking with John.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh my badass. In the dark. I'm like in a tunnel right now. Hey, hey.
Should do like a different theme and make it like action montage music, like walking with John. He's got feet and he's walking. He's gonna get a cigarette.
Because I'm not allowed to smoke in my house.
He's not allowed to smoke in the house, so he's gonna go outside and he's getting walking.
Cigarette in my mouth.
I don't know.
My cool lighter. Play clean.
You best slay.
You best play, Queen. Mm. Okay. So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Getting back to the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I didn't like, and I I feel like it should be an automatic talked about because it's been talked about in every other documentary of grunge. Mia Zapata,
Mia Zapata.
the lead singer of the band The Gits, the one that was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
That along with Kurt Cobain, pretty much that was the real thing that killed grunge, and a lot of people's opinion was her murder. The scene, the scene wasn't as trusting anymore,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that kind of allowed really with punk. I think another scene that really broke out of the whole grunge scene was like Riot Girl.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Especially in the Northwest with bands like Bikini Kill and Bratmobile and Slater Kenny and Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would put Huggy Bear in with them, but I kind of do. I don't know, man. Like I wanted to like the documentary, and there was points that I liked. I felt like the whole Sub Pop thing was just a fucking rich dude fucking crying about him fucking selling his stock. Well, dude, like, how are you gonna let this dude that had nothing to do with your fucking label until later? Man, I would have booted his ass to the fucking dude. I would have made him fucking sign a fucking walkout door, dude.
Yeah.
I created the zine that created this shit, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here with that, man.
Yeah.
Like, how are you gonna fucking take my shit and fucking make it something I didn't want it to be, dude? Like, no, this is my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, you don't get the kid if the kid was here before you came. Like, you're not leaving with your stepkid, dude. Like, like that's pretty much how I felt about it. I felt like it was Jonathan Poneman's stepkid. Like, it wasn't his from the Genesis. So he shouldn't have been able just to fucking walk with it.
Mm-hmm.
If Bruce Prabbitt didn't want to do it anymore, then I would have just closed fucking shop like Lookout did.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lookout's another. We could do a whole episode on Lookout.
Oh yeah, listen, I'm friends with both dudes and they seem to get along, but like I don't know if you want to sit down with Larry on that shit, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people got a problem with how that all went down though.
Yeah. Another key example of labels. How do I say this eloquently? A label living off of something that came after their label's involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for as great as Lookout was, they kind of lived off of Green Day's day.
Right. Well,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean, same
same
way
with
that.
Nirvana and Sub
Yeah.
Pop.
Yep. I don't know if they did anything weird with like, if they got residuals from Dookie or not. You know what I mean? Like maybe.
No, they didn't. It was pretty much what it was is that they owned the back catalog. So what happened is any people that were getting a Green Day, of course, were going to go out and get the 2 albums before. So they were pretty much living off those sales.
Right.
And
I just
that pretty
wonder
much carried them.
if they had any kind of right to Welcome to Paradise because it was an older song that they included on Dookie, like re-recorded.
The re-recording was a re-recording, so they didn't own it.
Okay. I didn't know if they owned publishing rights for like the song itself.
No, I think it was pretty much 60-40 or 50-50 like Fat Wreck is.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to ask Larry, but I think that's what it was. I think they just lived off the residuals. They not residuals, but they lived off the continued sales of. Plus, they were probably selling like anything they could get their hands of that like 88, 93 3 era. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where they had like the posters or whatever they were. You could pretty much do that.
I imagine at this point, though, like Green Day has all the, since Lookout doesn't exist anymore, and a lot of the bands were trying to get their, you know, the the back catalog. What is happening here?
I'm making coffee too.
I love this. It's all sideways. You're like, you look like a mad scientist.
I know. I'm fucking making my brew.
Is that a what do you call it? Is that a Keurig?
Some sir. But I
Cake.
don't buy individual pods. Like I have like pods like already, and I just put coffee in like pods
Yeah.
because it gets the amount of coffee I drink. I drink a lot of coffee, so like buying like a variety pack of like Dunkin' Donuts coffee, like it's kind of pointless to me because we would spend so much fucking money.
Yeah.
So it's like my example of like a Culligan, but for coffee. But
Yeah.
because I'm already on my 3rd cup of coffee, so
Yeah, I think I am too.
yeah, this will be my last one because it's already 10 o'clock. So I usually try to stop drinking by like 10:30,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll switch to water for a while, and then when I eat lunch, I'll have like a tea or like a soda or something.
Mm.
You know, because it's been so fucking hot lately. Like I need my water. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And they go, well, if you use like there's certain creamers that don't have sodium, and Sativa doesn't have sodium in it. So like I
Did you say sativa?
Sativa, yeah.
You mean stevia?
Yeah, stevia.
I was like, you put sativa in your coffee? You're hardcore.
No, I do have sativa in my system right now. I had an edible, I had a gummy earlier.
Yeah.
That's how I start my day. With some stevia, with some gummies and some coffee.
Yeah. Gummies and coffee and cell phones. Oh my.
Look at my groin, look at my little crotch. It's my pee-pee.
This is all going in, by the way.
My pee-pee. Everybody gets to see me. The internet gets to see my pee-pee.
Nice nice pee-pee.
My pee-pee. It's hiding right now. Nothing's getting me excited. Sorry, Sam.
Except sativa coffee.
Sativa coffee. I'm ready. So let's I guess let's wrap this up. As the kids say, don't be a fool, wrap your toe. I feel like I got a fart.
Don't trust the fart. Never trust the fart.
No,
You're gonna shit your pants, and I'm gonna leave it in.
Yeah.
I
feel like the poop is yours, bro. just like my stevia coffee.
Like every episode is gonna have like some kind of spill, whether it's me spilling coffee on myself or you spilling shit in your pants.
Like, oh, here it comes, guys.
Those are the side effects of having dysentery.
Yeah. Shit yourself uncontrollably.
Yeah, and spill coffee on yourself.
Get the hot shakes.
And confuse stevia with sativa.
Put sativa on my coffee in the morning. Wow, why does Jon seem alert and tired at the same time? Well, he puts sativa in his coffee.
Yeah. It's like Four Loco, but not stupid.
Yeah. It's like Jon's high and buzzing on caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta sleep. I'm so tired. Where's the Doritos?
It's that poor man's highball.
I'm freebasing.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Anywho, we should be serious. Final thoughts on the dark side of grunge.
I don't know. I'd much rather watch like one of those full-length documentaries about it.
You'd rather watch like Hype or something.
Yeah. Hype's good. Watch Hype.
Hype's the best one.
I mean, okay, so here's my thoughts on the Dark Side of the 90s series in general. Is that it's fun to sit and watch like a whole series of those, like binge that just to get like nostalgic and shit. But if you weren't there, don't try to use that series to learn anything.
That would be the same thing as if somebody came in a documentary about our scene and came from Florida. They want to understand our scene, which I think our scene kind of there's two factions of our scene that are all very polarizing. We had kind of the metal borderline hardcore scene, and then we had kind of the punk emo scene. You know what I mean?
Who's seen? Are you talking about Newcastle?
Just Western Pennsylvania in general.
Okay, yeah.
Pittsburgh definitely had more of a grungier scene.
Yeah.
I've heard it described as kind of like the East Coast, like the East equivalent of Seattle, like the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh scene was very like sludgy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with like early like the core comps.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also had like kind of like the Midwest emo stuff that was coming out, you know what I mean? Or I don't know, punks by 18-year-old world kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of came across as emo, but
mm-hmm.
I still don't like that word being described, but that's like bands like Scorpion Kings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then we also had like kind of like, we had a lot of metal bands, but like all the metal bands were very much like, we were 17, 18, 19 years old. So it was like a lot of metal stuff. So like somebody who's from Florida, say somebody's from like the Florida ska scene, they really want to understand our scene. And it's almost kind of like the way that the series about grunge is that it was fun to see people get interviewed who were there, but like it just seemed like the best part was when they were talking about the girl that worked for Sub Pop that did the prank. That was included in Hype.
But that was in Hype. I already knew about that from Hype. Yeah. It was almost verbatim, so it's like, why not just watch Hype?
Mm-hmm. And it was funnier then because it was happening around that time. Now it's just like, oh, we're waxing nostalgia, and you're all of a sudden like, I felt like the best parts of the documentary was like interviews with like, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name. The producer, Jack and Dino.
Yeah. Yep.
Like stuff with like Jack and Dino, who was pretty much, we were just doing whatever. Like he was still very much not wrapped up in the hype. He just was a documentarian of this time. Same thing with like Charles Peterson, who did the photography. It wasn't so much like they weren't like boo-hooing. It was like, well, it's what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? It seemed like everybody else was like wanting a fucking pity party. And it's like, dude, like, first off, you keep calling it grunge. Like, you weren't calling your scene grunge.
Right.
Like, stop it. Like, stop pandering the vice. Stop pandering to the fucking machine. Like,
stop it.
Stop it. And that's my thought. It made me wanting I don't know. I wanted more honesty.
Yeah.
I felt like it was very very surface value.
Yeah. I felt like it was all about Sub Pop and their take on things. And
Yeah. Oh, they were so poor, yet they had the Sub Pop mark.
Word.
I don't know. That's my final thoughts. Fuck them.
All right. Yeah. Well, I hope you found this episode entertaining. We'll see you next time, I guess.
Don't forget to hit that button, like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, follow, whatever your chosen service allows. Pretty much just Spotify and YouTube. I think we should just keep it at that. Because those
If
are
you're
more
a young kid, tell your mom and dad to watch this because you probably won't get it.
Yeah, or watch it with your parents and then discuss.
Yeah. And hit us up. Give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment on Spotify, on YouTube. Tell me what I got wrong. Tell us what we got wrong.
Yeah.
If you were from that scene, if you're from the Pacific Northwest, give us your thoughts on it if we fuck something up. But hopefully we can do episodes more like this in the future where we kind of do more like a deep dive.
Yeah. I'd like that too.
Well, I guess that's.
Oh wait, sorry. This is political now. I can't do that anymore.
What, this?
Yeah, I guess that's like some white power thing or something.
Really? Oh,
assholes turn that into something.
No, because you know what it is. It's okay. This
don't even
there's
bother.
something with sign language, like people do that. Just like with Marlboro, you know how Marlboro had like the 2Ks on their packaging.
Yeah.
Or like their 3Ks on the packaging.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you look at like a pack like Marlboro, it's like in the like logo, it has like K's written out, and people were like, "Oh, they're racist. They're from the South." I'm like, why do we gotta do like?
No, but like some sort of like, yeah, sad eggplant emoji.
Yeah. That's the kind of those are boner killers, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, we will see you next time. Sayonara.
We can cut that shit out. We can cut
whatever. All right, bye.
Okay, well, bye.
Now you do it.
You got dysentery.